Hello, Gail. Sorry I'm in the car, but a client is late, so I had some time to spare, and I was watching your video earlier. Of course, apologies for being so late, but I'm gonna get this 3 in, and then also watch 4 and give that feedback later tonight. Overall, though, great work with Noah. And I would, though, for future reflections, just make sure you're writing like as much as possible for, the goals and the thoughtful reflection and challenging and stuff. I want to see about 2, ideally 3 different, pretty nicely written out examples. So let me know if you need any help with what I mean by that. But for the challenging, you could say I had a hard time, or he was having a hard time laddering down the board. So in the next session, I'm gonna, really get his eyes ready, give him more directional prompts, and break the board so he can't even do the laddering. Not that he was laddering, but just an example. Yeah, you moved to the 26, which was good because he really was doing pretty minimal mispokes on the 3s. But typically, I probably would have waited just a little bit longer. You move to the 26 when they are spelling, greens, majority greens on the 3s, and you have very little gestural and directional prompt going on, like your hands still or down on your lap, and you're just kind of doing that continuation of, A, and look for it, B, then keep going. So yeah, once Noah or anyone else is on the 3s and you're not moving your hand as much or giving as many as those direct, like in the corner, up over one, in the middle, top shelf, things like that. And then also too, when you do move up to the 26, you have to consider, because you were on the 3s and now you got to a point of very minimal prompting, going to the 26 will be a new motor. So start with the spell onlys for warm-up, and then go into greens, and just know that you're going to get back to that heavy prompting in the beginning and fade accordingly. And then also too, whenever you go up to the 26, it's not like an official, all right, you spelled a word on the 26, now we're here for life. Sometimes if they're getting too mispokey, and then as a new CRP too, it's challenging figuring out how to prompt on that board because you were so used to the 3s. Sometimes I just say, give me the first 2 letters on the 26, and then we'll go to the 3s, and then if he's doing well on that, back to the 26, and you can bounce back and forth. And there might be a couple sessions he rocked the 26, but then one day you come in and his body's just having a really difficult, impulsive day, and you might end up doing mostly questions on the 3s. So just always be conscious of that, and it's totally fine to bounce up and down at the beginning of that transition. Okay, so that was kind of in response to what you wrote. Now let me look at my notes. So in the beginning, I think you did 1 or 2 spells, maybe more, but after that first spell, he had 0 mispokes, and those are just meant for a warm-up, so I would have just gone into the greens, which is great. Be more mindful of when I loved your prompts, I loved the directional, I loved board placement, everything, rocking it, but now just try and keep, instead of breaking the board, lifting the board up after every letter, just try and keep it down, and instead you can do more of the gestural and stuff. Another thing too, it's just kind of a preference, but I found it helps my back and everything over time. Typically I'll have the client facing forward, and then my chair, my knees, I'm kind of like perpendicular to them, just so it's a little bit easier, you're a little bit closer, especially if you have a lefty and you have to reach. But again, that's just a suggestion. It's whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, it seemed, it was great. He was on the sensory board, but for next session, if you can, and it's okay if the fourth video is similar view, but get the view from behind him so I can see his pokes. Remember to, write down the words as you're reading for your keywords, and then also write down the answers. You never need to kind of repeat, like, okay, we were spelling so-and-so, or let me say the question again. Instead, and that's just something that even sometimes I might repeat a question, but I phrase it like, I know you know this question, but just for my brain, I'm going to read it out loud again, because they never need to hear it again. So instead of saying, okay, we're spelling iceberg, we've got I-S-E, next letter, I would just drop the board and say after E is go. The directional prompts, again, were amazing. I would wait a little bit before giving such direct ones and kind of give him the chance to see where his hand is going. I loved them. They were amazing, very on point. But I think there could have been some letters where he didn't need as much support for that prompt. So you can that's how you and his relationship will grow, when you're fading a little bit of those prompts. Maybe give a direction. I typically give really big directional prompts when I know they're doing a big jump. Like, I'll literally say, like, all right, you got that E, and now big stretch, go, 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 eyes all the way across the board, other corner, bottom corner, get it. But yeah, because he is rocking it, and on the threes he does have little missed pokes, just start fading those prompts, and once they're kind of all faded, then that's when you can confidently go back up to the 26. And again, you stated in your reflection, which was great, trying to ignore some of those verbal loops and scripts. I'll always just say, like, hey, I know you know my name, I know your name, I'm not trying to be rude or ignore you, but going forward, I also know that's a loop, so I'm just gonna keep reading or asking the question and ignoring those unreliable words. Good job scooting him back. I was gonna say that, but really it was perfect, everything. And yeah, I think that's it. Let me know if you have questions. I'm sorry again. Thanks.